Well, good evening, everyone. I am very excited about our little broadcast this evening, particularly for those of you who have been following this journey of wing threads, which we're going to run through a little bit for anyone who hasn't heard about the story when I get our special guest on shortly. But yeah, I hope you're all well and keeping warm. It's been an absolutely cracking, freezing day here in Sydney. And as you know, Sydney's not that well prepared for the cold. So everyone's been feeling it. There's been a good strong wind. And even though it's only been in the low teens, if that, between 8 and 15, the wind chill has been cracking. We've been filming and yeah, it's nice to come in. I'm not long home and I can still feel that post-cold forehead sort of going pulse, pulse, pulse. But yeah, big welcome, everyone. If you can jump in and let us know how bloody good's wing threads. There's the great first comment. Hi from Mark Wright up in Kenthurst, freezing here today. Yeah, good evening, Jackie Murray. Can't wait to get up to the mid-north coast soon. Scotty Ross, Andrew, welcome everyone. Let us know what country you're on. Freezing in Melbourne, Costa, I can imagine, Carolyn. Hi, Costa, too windy. Yeah, it was really windy in the city. Let's take off. Karen Sanchez. Milly will be joining us in a couple of moments. So, yeah, I want to start by acknowledging that I'm here on Gadigal land of the Eora Nation. I want to acknowledge elders past, present and emerging as we make our way into the midst of Reconciliation Week. I suppose the thing that's incredibly special about Milly's trip is it is all about caring for country. Milly's all about raising awareness around the importance of our wetlands. Our wetlands are the kidneys and liver of the planet. They are the breeding grounds. So a big call out to the care for country and to everyone who cares for country. Big shout out to everyone at BirdLife Australia, of course, because we don't have birds without country. Birds live on land, they live in wetlands, they rely on forests and trees and habitat. So everything about Milly's journey is about caring for this planet. So it's wonderful to be able to make this broadcast during Reconciliation Week when we are talking about all things land care, bush care, earth care, and earth repair for that matter. And of course, a big call out to Milly's other big sponsors, Remember the Wild, who are doing a wonderful job in supporting Milly's work and planning to capture as much of it on film as well, on video and photographically as well. You'll hear more about that as Milly's trip goes on. Hello from Ainsley in Canberra. The gangs are here. That's it, Monty. Was sung to by a magpie this morning. That's nice, Brenda. Gippsland is great, even if a tad chilly. Peter, I can imagine. Robbie Beale out in Orbost. Good to see you, brother. I don't know the Tempe. All I know, Costa, that it's damn cold in Wollongong. You're lucky to have that beard to keep you warm. Yeah. It's my built-in scarf. But the rest of me was cold. Annie Casson's joining us from North Carolina. Good on you, Annie. And Harvey Bay, 23 degrees. Okay, Joanne Stevens. You are just bashing us there, rubbing it in. I'm sure there's a lot of people, Adriana in Mansfield Marsfield, that's in Sydney. Hi from James's mum from Grafton. Harvey Bay, yes. We'll just drop that one. That's a bit too tough on everyone. Extremely cold in Canberra, snow on the Brindabella. How was the weather in Cairns? The weather in Cairns was sensational. It was about 28. Deborah Gillen on Ngunnawal country. Crystal Horner on Darawal country. Chile, Tassie, Maddie Alexander. Welcome, everyone. So lovely in Perth. Keel Armstrong. Hello, little man Flynn. Can everyone say hello to Flynn on the chat so that Flynn can see that people are giving him a cheerio? Give him a bit of an emoji Good on you, Flint. Can't wait for you to see some of Milly's pictures of her microlight. Yasu Sash, nice to see you. Wouldn't like to go for a swim at Bondi today. Ricky, it would be cold, mate. Hi, Costa. I'm so excited to learn more about our shorebirds during Milly's flight. Love the work. Remember the Wild do, and they've been keeping us well updated. Big hello from Melbourne. Thanks, Vanda. Great to see you. So let's get on with it and bring Milly in, and we're going to have a little bit of a chat. Hey, Mandy and Andrew from Kalamunda Garden Festival. Great to see you guys here. So, Milly, greetings.
Hey,
how are you going?
I'm good. How you doing?
It's good to see you, and wonderful to see plenty of people on here. Happy to catch up and
yes, awesome.
See how things are going. Where exactly are you, so people can put a location on you?
Yep. So I've recently driven back to Perth from Newcastle. So I'm back on Wajak Nyunga country here in Perth, and very excited, very happy to be back here. And just talking about caring for country before and it being Reconciliation Weekend, you gave a bit of a shout out to Remember the Wild. They did a fantastic video a few years ago with wing threads with the Karajari Ranges up in northwest Australia as part of a shorebird expedition. It's called We Are the Land, and Kathy posted that video again on their Facebook and Instagram the other day. I highly recommend people check it out.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah. So, Milly, you, as for those of you that aren't up to speed, Milly has been based up on the Central Coast in Lake Macquarie, very close to Newcastle, for the last few years. I'll let her explain. And she recently left there to make the journey. Give us a bit of a background of your time preparing in Lake Macquarie and where you've been in Newcastle, Milly.
Okay. So I first moved over to Newcastle in 2018 to work with the guys who make my aircraft, Airborne Australia. They're based over there in Redhead, and ended up being over there for about four years in the end. So I'll cut that story short because that's a long one in itself.
Yeah.
But more recently, since you and I sort of became friends and I took you for a fly in the Microlight, that was for the crowdfunding campaign. So I've raised the money to do this flight around Australia earlier this year in February. And since we raised the money, I've been preparing the 3 vehicles for the trip. So I've got my Microlight, obviously, and then I've got my trailer for the Microlight, because for those people who aren't familiar with my aircraft, it's a powered hang glider. So you can actually take the hang glider wing off the 3-wheel base and fold it up, and that can go up on your roof racks of a car, and then you can put the base in the trailer. So I've been getting my trailer all sorted and my car as well to do this massive road trip around the country. So that's been my life for the past couple of months. Has been doing all these little jobs. There's been heaps of stuff to do. Everything from, I've had to repair my trailer door because I had carpenter ants get into the wood. So I had to rip all the plywood off and replace it and, grind the metal back and all the rest of it. I've had to, get a bull bar fitted to the car, and I've had the car outfitted with all the gear for the trip, which, everybody's support has helped me achieve, and getting vehicles serviced, getting the Microlight serviced, getting all the instruments calibrated on the Microlight, all of that kind of stuff. And then since being back in WA, I've had to, put my things in storage and get my rego on my car transferred over to WA. So it's all that kind of life admin stuff before I even get to the flight itself.
Wow, that's a fair whack of logistics that you've had to do. How long did it take you to do the trip across, and what was that like?
Oh, the trip across was so good. So I did it in 5 days. I drove from Newcastle across to Port Augusta via the Midwestern Highway, so through Wagga Wagga that way, and then I went across the Nullarbor back to White Gum Farm out at York, and it was just the best thing ever. I was so pumped. Like, I thought that I'd get pretty tired, but I think I was just so excited to do the drive that I was just on a high the whole time. And, watching the landscape change as you drive across the Nullarbor, for those who've done it, it's just magic, And there's something about red dirt in Australia that really does it for me. It makes my heart sing. I don't know what it is. But as soon as I hit like Murray Sunset National Park there in northwest Victoria, I was just like, oh, I love this country so much. And it's just so flat and open, and you have those beautiful vistas with clouds over the landscape and beautiful rainstorms, and had rainbows, and seeing the Great Australian Bight and all of that. It's just beautiful. So I just had my audiobooks in and my music, and I was good.
Oh. Well, Nicola Jones said, loved your photos along the way, Milly.
Thanks, Nicola. Yeah, some good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the, well, actually, before we get on to the logistics of the trip, what did you need done? So with some of the money that, just so people, to those people that have contributed to the fundraising that took place sort of 8 weeks or more ago, what sort of things were you able to do to help you get over there and get the logistical side of having a vehicle which is your ground vehicle that's going to follow you as you fly these legs? What sort of stuff had to be done, and who did it?
Yeah, thank you. So probably the biggest thing was getting my car outfitted. So the ground crew and myself were going to be car camping and couch surfing on the way. So I really needed to have a car that was set up for that. So I have a Toyota Prado. So I got the bull bar put on that so I can have a T-bar fitted to the front that allows me to carry a microlight wing on the roof. I had roof racks put on, Max Trax mounts, jerry can mounts. I had rear drawers put in the back, and I got a dual zone car fridge as well, with everybody's support, compressor, all that sort of gear that you need going on the road for going out to remote areas. And your wonderful friend Margie Brown helped, hi Margie if you're watching, put us in touch with the fabulous group in Marrickville, Adventure Merchants and Outfitters, and those guys did all the outfitting of the car for free, which was really huge. And they dropped everything and got my car in within a couple of days, when they had a 6-week wait list for other people to do their vehicles. They squeezed me in so that I'd be prepared for the trip, and I'd have good quality gear as well. So it's all like mostly front runner gear, and I've also got a big lithium battery with an inverter in it so that I can have a car fridge running, and we can run all the camera gear. When Remember the Wild are with us, they can charge all their gear up as well when we're on the road and stuff like that. So that's all happened because I've had the support of everybody. And of course, making sure she's all serviced and got good tires and all the rest of it there as well has been a big part of it. And then with the Microlight, I've been able to afford a new transponder. So the transponder will let me fly in controlled airspace as I'm traveling around the country. So that's a really big thing. And I was able to get helmets as well, and a new sail for the wing too. So that was pretty awesome.
What's something like a transponder cost? Like, just so people have an idea of what this kind of equipment is worth.
Yeah, so the transponder, to buy the transponder and have it fitted was $5,200. So it's a pretty expensive piece of high-tech equipment. But thankfully, the government's just announced a subsidy program for recreational pilots getting transponders fitted to their aircraft. So I can actually get that money back in a few months. So that would be fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean,
it's fantastic,
anything like new wings, spare wings, all of that equipment. I can imagine it's not cheap, and you have to have it because you're traveling long distances. Anything can happen, and a transponder of all things is probably one of the most important little details next to the engine itself.
Yeah, just a bit. I could get away with not having one because there's so many little airstrips around Australia that you aren't in controlled airspace. But it's just going to open up a whole new area that I can fly through, especially when I'm traveling up the east coast of Australia, because there's a lot of controlled airspace along there, and they recently changed the lower limit of the airspace to Class E, which means you really need a transponder to navigate through it, and that's why the government's put this subsidy program out there.
Yeah, fantastic. So that more people are on signal, so that there's less chance of accidents.
Exactly. Yeah, it makes it a safer place to fly. Yep.
Now, my good friend over there in Orbost, Robbie Beale, has been messaging to say hello to Milly from Robbie. So
hi, Robbie.
Hopefully Robbie will be able to come and see you when you round the southeast of Australia and pop up wherever you will, or drop down and visit some schools in and around Orbost and out there in East Gippsland, which
that's my hood where I grew up. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I grew up in Drew and Warrigal. Yeah, in West Gippsland. Yeah.
Now, we got one question here which I'll throw, and then we'll continue on with where you're at the moment, just so people can see the picture. How many cameras have you got fitted to the plane to record?
At the moment, I've got 2. So I've got my GoPro, and I've got my phone as well that I'll be live streaming from. I'm going to invest in an Insta360 camera as well, because I've got a mount that sits on top of the king post above the wing, and I just think it would be so cool to have a 360 view above the airplane as I'm flying around. That'd be incredible.
Wow.
So, I want to get that as well. Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. Now, so have you got any pictures you want to show from the trip over? Or
yeah, sure. I can show everybody what my setup looks like, so you get an idea of what I'm dealing with. So give me a sec. I'll just share my screen. Let's see the picture. So can you see that?
Yep.
Awesome. So this is my little car. So, the awning as well. That was another thing that the Adventure Merchants fitted on there as well. So, this is my setup. So I've got my car there with all of the gear on it. The blue thing that's wrapped up on top of the roof rack there, that's the wing of the Microlight when it's all folded up. So you can see it's longer than the length of the vehicle actually by a little bit, hangs off the back there. And then I've got the big box trailer there. So that's got the Microlight in it. And it's also got like the silver door on the side there. There's another one on the other side. They're 2 storage containers. And I've got all my spare parts and tools and stuff in there, because you have to have all that gear as well. So some of the spare parts I was able to get is like I've got a spare propeller. I've got the spare sail, as I mentioned. And then I've got like the wings have battens in them with little tips on them that are, can snap off if you're setting up the wing and packing it up all the time. They can get caught and, pins, like little bits and pieces that you can lose. You have to take all that stuff with you as well, because you don't want to get held up by something small. And then I've just got my swag there, all my gear, and having the 3 vehicles is quite a lot. And this is a picture here as well of where I'm currently staying up at White Gum Farm out near York, and this is where I'll be taking off from as well. This is a view of what it looks like out there in the wheat belt. It's pretty spectacular, and that's my little Microlight there as well for people who aren't familiar with what it looks like.
Now, John just asked, where are you? So there's your answer to that one. Actually, throw that one back up, Milly.
Sure.
I was I was fortunate enough last week to go out and meet Milly at White Gum Farm. It's a beautiful part of the country
Yeah,
out there past
gorgeous.
York. I've never been there before, and unfortunately we didn't get a chance to go for a fly because it was raining, raining a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
It came with you.
yeah. Now, Paul Goodall, rest assured, I will be sharing with you Milly's schedule and showing you where you can keep in touch. We're going to get
Yeah.
to that shortly. But Genevieve, just in terms of what you've been talking about, can you sleep in the box trailer?
Yes. Yeah. So when the Microlight's not in it, it has two side platforms that fold down into the middle. So I could just set my swag up in the trailer and sleep in there if I wanted to. Yep.
Yeah, wow. Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice and easy. Otherwise,
Yeah, exactly.
otherwise you can sleep under the awning.
Yes, that's it. So I've got both.
Annie asked the rough how many schools have you got lined up so far? Because actually, Annie, we'll get to that because, but yeah, actually, answer that. We'll get to why not?
Okay, I've had about 70 odd school applications so far, and I think I said yes to about 50, just under 50, because some of them I got so many applications in Victoria, I haven't been able to say yes to them all because I just won't have time. And same thing around Perth. I was kind of overwhelmed by applications from those two areas. So I've put those people on a waiting list just in case, I get held up by weather or something, I can fit them in. But yeah, anyone else who hasn't applied for a school visit yet and would like to, go to the Wingthreads website, and it's just wingthreads.com, and you'll see a button there that says apply for a school visit. And I encourage you to still apply for one if you're a teacher or an educator at a library or something like that. Apply for a school visit because I've just left it open, and I'll address them as I travel around and fit you in if I've got time.
Lisa, wow, so many. Adriana said 50 schools. Wow, so many kids will be inspired by your trip. And Lisa said, here we go. Wave as you fly over, Milly.
Will do. I'll stop. Should I stop sharing the screen now?
Oh, yeah. Why not? There was a question here from Lisa. Do you come across any bird life as you're flying?
Yes, I do. So I've flown mainly with birds of prey. So you often see them thermaling up there in the sky. So I've come across a few wedge-tailed eagles and, swamp harriers and things like that, which is really cool. And I've also flown with, I've had a flock of welcome swallows fly alongside me. And I think the coolest one was I was coming in on finals at Lake Macquarie Airport one day, and I had a white-throated needletail with me, which for anyone who doesn't know is a type of migratory swift that we get over in Lake Macquarie. It's really cool.
Loving my shorebird tea-towel, Milly. I don't expect. Are you going as far inland as Canberra?
Oh, it's a maybe. I'll see how I'm going time-wise, but I have had a few requests for Canberra, so I'll see what I can do.
Ros Felch has just gone. I'm going to be a school kid for a day when you come to Ballina.
Yeah, do it.
Danny S says, Ros Felch, I might join you.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I love that. Cool.
Looks like Ros and Danielle are going to be waving the flag, and who we got here? Nicola Jones has said, hoping you come to Toondah Harbour when you're in Queensland.
Absolutely, yeah. Toondah's on my must-visit list. As many people know, Toondah Harbour is quite a really important site for eastern curlews, which are critically endangered, and their Ramsar wetlands are currently being proposed for development up there, and that's been a really huge issue for quite some time. And the community has worked really hard to bring a lot of attention to that issue to protect the wetlands. And I'd like to do a story with Remember the Wild about all of that, because it's so important to show what people are doing to create change. Because you and I have had some great conversations about this, Costa, how important it is to tell the other side of the story, because a lot of environmental messaging can be problem focused, and it's so important to show what people are doing as well and the change that is happening, so that it brings balance to the story.
It's so true, and I think that's one thing that's resonated with me about every aspect of what you're bringing to the storytelling, that it is this positive go to it. This is what's out there. This is what can be done. This is what I'm doing. This is what other groups are doing, and really, in a sense, you're putting a big, you're literally running a big ribbon around the country and say, let's tie a bow up and celebrate and get everyone behind every wetland everywhere in the country and change the status quo and the thinking.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's so important to tell the stories and to celebrate the people who are doing all those grassroots efforts. I think when you have a really big issue like threatened species extinction, it's very easy to feel completely overwhelmed and to think that small things that you do won't make a difference, but they do, and they all add up. And it's really important to remember that those things matter and to celebrate those small wins. Doesn't matter what size they are, they're all contributing.
Speaking of Toondah, Nicola said was walking with Jerry Colby Williams at the Toondah Walk to save the shorebirds a couple of weeks ago. Good on you, Nicola.
That's awesome. I saw Rob Bush as well, the talk he gave at Toondah for that event too. He's one of my friends.
That's excellent. And I mean, really, if everyone here shares what Milly's doing, and then media picks up on it as she flies into different places, and it gets, let your local paper know, let your local councils know, let the media know, the TV and the radio, so that when she is there at a school, she gets bombarded by the media, and this gets picked up by national news as she goes around the country from place to place or from time to time, so that there's a real thread, just like the. Can you explain what the wing threads mean?
I came up with that name because, the migration of the shorebirds is really like a thread that ties us to billions of people all throughout the East Asian Australasian Flyway, which is the name of the migration highway that they follow to get up to the Arctic and breed there every year. And that is a chain of wetland, that they fly from one to the next. And it's really a thread that connects us with people in those 23 countries in the flyway. And over half of the world's population live in those 23 countries. There's 4.5 billion people in the East Asian Australasian Flyway, which is pretty phenomenal.
Cool.
That's really that thread. They're that thread that link us to everybody else there, and show us. They're really a doorway into showing us that we are part of a much larger global ecological network. It's putting the wetlands here in Australia into that global context and highlighting why looking after those wetlands is important at that local level, and fostering that stewardship for wetlands here, like what you take care of here has an impact on a global scale. That's really the message. And the other reason I chose wing threads is because the sail of the Microlight is fabric and it's stitched together with thread. So there was those links there.
Oh, well, Lisa's summed it up nicely. People power and community power. That's exactly it, Lisa. And you just sharing it, sharing this post is about people power, but it's also community power embedded in both of those actions, because it only takes one person seeing this who has a capacity to share it or action it into a new realm, that you just can't underestimate who, and whether there's 55 people watching or 1,055, it can just be that one person that shares it and then backs Milly and backs one of the groups. Could be Tunda, could be where we were down at the Mandurah wetlands. It could be up at the Hunter wetlands, wherever it is. There's wetlands in every community, and it's fantastic. So thanks for that comment, Lisa. Tanya just said, I really love the idea of the thread connections.
Yeah.
Now, just to give everyone some Spencer and Save the Sunrise glossies, I can't wait for you to meet Spencer.
Yeah, I'm keen to meet Spencer too. He's a top fan, I think.
Yeah, he really is. He said, how do you keep warm when you're flying?
Well, I have I have a big flying suit that's like wearing overalls made out of a sleeping bag. And then I just invested in a heated flying vest. Well, just a heated vest, I should say. It's not, I don't think it was designed for flying. I'm just using it for that. I'm so excited about it. It's got like a battery in it and little filaments in it that heat up like an electric blanket. So I can wear that under my flying suit as I'm flying along. And then this afternoon, I also bought some of those little pocket hand warmers that you snap and they heat up, and and you can reuse, like boil them and reuse them later. I got a couple of those to tuck in my gloves when I go flying, because it's going to be cold. It's winter and it gets really cold up there, and keeping your hands and feet warm is really essential for safety, because if you can't feel your hands and feet, or you can't really fly the plane, it's going to make it hard to turn and also control the foot pedals when I land.
You definitely need feeling in your fingers and toes, that's for sure.
Fingers and toes, yeah. I was thinking I might even wear my Ugg boots to keep my feet warm. Yeah,
that's a good look. Slippers, slippers and a blanket.
Look, I'm willing to go there to keep my feet warm.
John Welsh says,
John. Hi, John.
It's nice to see you back in your flying origins.
John was one of my instructors for my cross-country endorsement here at White Gum. Yeah.
Explain White Gum a bit. It's an aerodrome that people can learn to fly. They fly into. Explain that a little bit. I was, like I say, I saw it on the last week, but give people a bit of an outline.
Yeah, so White Gum Farm, it's about 200 k's east of Perth, New York, and it's an airfield. And the airfield is next to a caravan park, so you can come up here and stay. And next door is White Gum Air Park, which my friends Mary and Andrew Cottrell run, and I think I saw them in the comments before too. Hi, Mary and Andrew.
Hey, Andrew. Hi, Mary.
Yeah, so you can come to White Gum and learn how to fly. You can fly fixed wing, 3-axis aircraft and learn in the Foxbat, or you can learn to fly a gyrocopter as well. And there's two runways. There's a east-west and a north-south runway here. And Mary and Andrew also have just undertaken this really ambitious project over the last few years of getting two grounded ex-Ozjet. It's nuts, isn't it? Two 737s that were stuck at Perth Airport because they'd been grounded and were no longer operational. They went to Perth and pulled the wings off both of them and had the and the tail and all the landing gear and stuff, and had all of the bits transported by truck up to White Gum Farm, and then they reassembled them there. And they're keeping one as a display aircraft, and the other one they're going to turn into accommodation as the ultimate Airbnb.
Now that's a true Airbnb. But
Exactly.
seriously, everyone, we won't go right into this, but
Yeah.
in order for them to get the wings off, like for your flying safety, let's say the wings are held on quite substantially, like around 460 odd bolts. And those bolts are part of the wing, which is also a fuel tank. So those bolts have been installed with a non-return bolt. So it's basically round. So you can't just go in there with a shifter. It's also covered with a lining to make the tank waterproof. And the only way you can get them off is to get in there and undo them. But you've got to remove the membrane. Then you've got to scour each bolt with a chisel so that you can get some purchase on it. And then you've got to get it out. And I looked at, like, just looking at the entry point to get into that wing, that's enough to send most of you into a state of like total claustrophobic despair, let alone to go in there and be in there for hours, one bolt after the other. And when you've done 465 and you start to celebrate, you've then got to go back to ground zero and take off the next 465. Look, I can't wait. I'm going to go and, like, I urge you all, when the time comes, go and stay in that B&B, just out of appreciation for what they did. Unbelievable.
Yeah. I did a live stream with Mary a few days ago. If anyone wants to go on my Facebook and have a watch, you can have a tour of the 737 with Mary.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah. That's great. Now, Monty Key, he said, we've planted heaps of small correas, Dewinias, Grevilleas in our garden, and it's brought back the little wrens, silver eyes, eastern spinebills. So good to see on Ngunnawal country. That's just back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier in terms of just what this is all about. Now, give us a little bit of an idea. So now that we've covered off on White Gum, the trip over, we're literally ready for liftoff. Now, tomorrow, that's basically why I locked this broadcast in, because how are you feeling as far as the takeoff? It's basically, ground. No, not you're ready to go tomorrow.
Well, I've actually had to wait a day. So much of this project is weather dependent, and I have to wait for the right time to take off. And the wind tomorrow morning has picked up at Bunbury, because my first leg of my flight is from White Gum Farm to Bunbury, which is about 140 nautical miles. And it's going to take me about 2.5-3 hours to get there. So by the time I get there, the wind will have picked up from the south, and they have an east-west runway at Bunbury, which means I'll be landing in a crosswind. So it's not great. So I'm going to wait till Friday morning instead, and do the flight Friday morning.
And I suppose, and we were talking about this, Milly, and just for everyone here, this is the thing that is really the underpin of what Milly's doing here. She's flying not as a bird, but like a bird, in the sense that birds don't fly in the rain. They fly to the conditions. And this is one of those things. You can set up an itinerary, but nature is going to determine that itinerary. When there's 3 days of wind and rain, like if you were here in Sydney at the moment, you wouldn't even be, like, you'd be bolting that thing to the ground and be coming, basically crashing out and saying, well, I'm here. So I think everyone looking to be involved and to get Milly to come to your school and all of that, it's not going to operate prescriptively to your time frame, and not going to operate to Milly's time frame. It's going to operate to the time frame that is possible, because, you know, there we go. I was, you know, you'd said you were going to take off tomorrow, and now that's put back, but it doesn't matter. This journey is roughly going to take somewhere between 6 months and however many extra days, according to the weather and nature.
That's exactly it. So I'm going to be able to let people know definitely. Well, even then I can't say definite, but the likelihood of taking off, I can confirm the night before when I get the aviation forecast, which is released, 12 hours ahead of when it's valid for. So I can look at all of the apps that I use, like windy.com, and that's my favorite, and Seabreeze and all the rest of it. But at the end of the day, the bomb and all of that. But at the end of the day, I've got to check the aviation forecast the night before, make sure that I've got what we call visual meteorological conditions that can be met. So I have to make sure that I have, I'm 1,000 feet clear of cloud when I'm flying, above me, and a kilometre horizontally to be able to fly. And, I've got visibility of at least 5,000 metres as well. So, I've got to make sure those conditions are met, and I've got to make sure that the wind conditions where I'm taking off from, where I'm landing, are okay as well. And, and in the morning I might wake up and it's foggy. So there's a saying in aviation, it's hurry up and wait, and that's pretty much it.
Well, that's exactly what TV production is all about. Hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait. And look, there's been some great comments, and people get it. Nature has its own time frame. Karen said, so much is in the lap of the gods. Lisa said, Mother Nature's time. And of course, Scotty Ross, better to be safe than sorry. Well, that's exactly it, Scotty. Like, Milly's not on a race. This is not some attempt to be some radical influencer to just look like this is an extreme journey. This is an extreme journey in education and understanding. It's not an extreme journey of like, oh, I'm going to become some sort of a survivor. She's not fighting with nature. She's actually trying to tell people, let's love nature and go at nature's pace. So I think everything about the journey, Scott, and everyone that's made these comments is, and Annie, you're spot on. Sometimes the best journeys are at a snail's pace.
Yeah, and we've had some great conversations about that too, Costa, about how, going slow, it just means that there's more time to be able to focus on the community engagement and the visiting of the schools and all of that stuff. And that's really what this project is about. It's the flight itself is a vehicle for the message, but the flights themselves are not why I'm doing this. It's all of the stuff that's in between each flight that's really where the gold is. And that's really what it's about. I like that comment you made of letting nature dictate when we're going. It is very much at nature's pace.
And Vanda's comment, it's spot on, isn't it? It's so much more adventure and connection to the surroundings, and the surroundings, not only the landscapes, but the people and the landscape of community.
And I think you have to go slow if you want to nurture those relationships and invest in people and create community. You can't do it at a rushed pace. That kind of change takes time. It takes time to get to know people and, give them your attention. And that's really what matters when it comes to creating connections and community for a project like this.
Yeah. Someone, I think Karen, it might have been Karen who asked it earlier. Danielle said she agrees, but Karen asked a question about, what are those things? What are those things that you are not so much anxious about, but naturally, um, conscious of in terms of, this is not a walk in the park. You're not just driving around on a sealed
Right.
asphalt road in a motor vehicle. Like, what parts of it, have you sort of confronted and have to overcome? Where are your fears and
Yeah.
things?
Oh, I think like I started doing some flight planning the other day, and like whenever you're flying cross country, there's always a mix of excitement because you're going somewhere new, and also it's a bit scary for the same reason. and you,
Exactly.
and you, yeah, and you have a look at the maps and you're like, oh geez, that's a bit of tiger country. I've got to fly over there. How long is it, and how long am I going to be flying over this area where there's really nowhere to land? That kind of thing. And I think that once I get to more remote parts of Australia, that's going to become more of a thing. So I was just looking like once I get to about Bremer Bay, I start heading into places like Ravensthorpe and Norseman and then Baladonia, and I'm heading across the Nullarbor, and there's not a lot of airfields along there that have hangarage and things like that, and which means I'll have to be packing up the microlight and putting it away if I need to stay there for a few nights, so it's not outside in the weather, and putting the base on the trailer. So that's something that's a challenge that I've not had to deal with on a regular basis before, because I've just been at Lake Macquarie and I can put her away in the hangar every night. And also the other thing is being prepared for if I have to do an outlanding somewhere. So if I have an engine failure, or I run into unexpected weather, or I find that if I'm taking off at the end of the day and I'm running out of light or something and I've got to land short of an airfield, I want to be prepared for that. So I recently got a sponsorship from outdoor gear company Patagonia, which is really awesome. So I'm getting a hiking pack from them and sleeping bag and things like that, so that I can have all my gear with me in the back seat. I'm going to have a tent, sleeping bag, sleeping mat, and my pack and everything, some food, water, all the rest of it, so that if I am stuck for a few hours or overnight or whatever, I've got all that stuff with me. And I've got to have all the emergency equipment as well. So this is some of the other stuff that funding's paid for. I've got an EPIRB, and it's actually a legal requirement to carry an EPIRB with you as a recreational pilot if you're traveling through northern remote Australia.
What is it?
An EPIRB. Oh, sorry, it's an emergency beacon. Yeah. So if I get stuck, that's me talking jargon.
Yeah.
So,
Oh no, I wasn't going to stand in the way of a good acronym
no,
or some jargon.
good. Yeah, I forget that I do that sometimes. So yeah, if I get stuck and need emergency services, I can just press a button and they'll know that I need help. And I've got all the first aid kit and all the rest of it with me on board in the aircraft in case I get stuck. So those things, if thinking about that stuff happening and being prepared for it, definitely, think about that and go, oh geez, I hope I'm all right if something like that happens.
Yeah. On a real technical little point, Carol Marshall asked, how long does the fuel tank last, generally speaking, relative to winds? I imagine headwinds and tailwinds, but what's say your average safe distance on still, calm conditions?
Hi, Carol. It's lovely to see you. Carol sent me a beautiful thank you card as well. It was lovely.
Oh,
The fuel tank, the fuel tank is 55 liters, and that gives me an endurance of about 5 hours. So there's about 5 litres of unusable fuel in the tank. So it gives me about 50 litres, and I burn about 10 litres an hour. So we talk about hours in terms of endurance in aviation because how far you can fly depends upon the winds within that amount of time. So, but if it was dead calm, I'm chuffing along at about 55 knots usually with myself and a full tank of fuel. So that's about 55 miles times that by 5, and what's that? 250, 270 mile.
Yeah. 270 miles.
Miles, yeah.
Miles, yeah. So that's about 350 Ks.
Probably a bit more than that. Probably getting closer to 450. Yeah.
Anyone want to give us some maths?
Yeah,
Any mathematicians out there? Pop it in the chat. We're just
times
going
1.8.
roughly.
1.86.
Joe Garner said, "I like this one from Joe. I hope Patagonia have packed you a cape. All super flyers should have a plastic cape."
Oh, I feel like it's a bit of a flying hazard. It could go through the propeller.
Yeah, that's right. Now, Sue Sawinski said, "Milly, you're going to get." Oh, Sue. Oh, you're going to get a warm welcome when you get the coughs.
Sue is part of BirdLife Northern New South Wales regional branch, and she's been a huge supporter for many years. And BirdLife Northern New South Wales sponsored the flight leg for Coffs Harbour. So thank you, Sue. Thank you, BirdLife.
Scott Ross said, "I failed maths." Lisa says, "I'm a horticulturist." So come on, someone hit the calculator. Find the calculator. Multiply 55 by 1.8 and give us an exact amount. Someone will come through. I hope. So Milly, basically your first stop is Bunbury, and then you're going to make your way around the country from there. As far as now, you mentioned that you have a website where people can actually see exactly where you are at any given point in time. This is like Find My Phone.
Yeah. So I've set up my trip on an app called Polar Steps, and anybody can view it. The link is on my. Oh, there you go. Costa's sharing it. Yeah, so you can follow me on Polar Steps if you want to become my real-time stalker. So I'll have my phone with me in the plane, so you'll be able to see where I'm at when I'm flying, as well as when I'm on the ground and driving around doing school visits and all the rest of it. People will be able to see where I am. And I can also upload photos and videos to that app. So I'll be adding exclusive content to the Polar Steps app for people who follow me on there. Because it's a bit tricky to put photo and video on the same Facebook post and things like that. So check it out on Polar Steps.
I'll also share that in the comments, everyone. So if you want to copy and paste, here it is. There it is in the comments. So that will take you to the Polar Steps website. Now, okay, so basically that shows where you stumped up overnight. Here we go, Vander. Vander's come through. Let's just hold the phone at the moment. We'll get back to that. Vander's come through. 55 miles is 88.5 K times 5, 442.5. Vander, you've saved the day, Vander. Thank you.
That's awesome.
That is great. So there you go. Back to the Polar Steps. That's a great little thing. You can almost just check in and see. And I think that's also a good thing because it gives you an idea of whether what you may have looked at in the day and it said, "Oh, Milly's taking off, and then something could have changed, and then you have a look and go, oh no, you're still in Bunbury. And that's an incredible technology, isn't it? That we're literally going to be seeing what you're seeing at the same time, if we want, whether you're Karen on the Sunshine Coast, or Faye over in WA, or Paul up in Toowoomba, like, you know, Robbie out in Orbost. Like, it's unreal. We can literally, and that's what I said when we were chatting the other day at White Gum. Like, I love the idea that there's a second seat, because that second seat is for all of us.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I love that too. And I've had a lot of people ask if they can come out to White Gum Farm and wave me off and things like that. And absolutely, you're welcome to come up, but I won't have a lot of time to sort of stop and chat and, say goodbye to everybody before I take off. That's the only thing. And I think you'll actually get a better experience of me and how I'm feeling before I take off and what's happening in the cockpit by joining me on the live stream.
Yeah.
And same thing when I arrive at Bunbury, because if you want to come and see me land, you'll need to stay in the public viewing area just outside of the airfield. So I won't be able to come in and knock on the hangar door sort of thing. It's just for members.
That's the thing. I mean, you know, when you're flying, you're it's like, you could say it's like the focus that, a tennis player has to get into once they walk onto the field, or any sports person, or anyone about to give a speech, or whatever. There's all that adrenaline. There's all that inherent knowledge that you have that you're not thinking about. You're going through routines, and I experienced it when you took me up for the flight. You've got the checks, you've got this. I mean, you do that on autopilot, but you're doing it in a very focused and present manner. On the days of takeoff, you not only have to be settled and focused, but you've also still got to be pondering, the end game of where you're landing. You've got your ground crew there; they're traveling across the ground to meet you somewhere, and then once you get there, you've got visits and so on and so forth. It's going to be a full-on time.
Yeah, exactly. And I said to you that day that I took you flying, I've got my pilot voice and my normal Milly voice, because once you're in that space, you have to be focused. And I do all my flight planning beforehand, so I'm going to have my iPad on one leg that's got my flight plan on it, and I'll have all of the the headings that I've got to have on my compass for different legs of the flight, and at what stage of the flight I need to change the radio frequency that I'm on when I'm flying, and what altitude I need to be flying at, and what are the landmarks I'm choosing that show me that I'm at a certain point, all of that kind of stuff. So I'll have all that mapped out on a bit of paper next to me. And then while I'm in the air, I've also got to be listening out for other traffic and keeping a visual lookout as well to make sure that there's I'm not going to run into somebody or something like that.
Yeah.
That's very important.
And also a lot of details.
Yeah, that's right. And keeping an eye on the weather as well, because you could be out flying and there could be unexpected cloud development and things like that. So you have to be on the ball, because just because the forecast says one thing doesn't mean that's actually what you experience when you're up there. And that's happened to me a few times. So
Andrea was saying, the logistics of logging your flight path, and Scotty Ross has just said, I just installed the app. Good on you, Scotty. You'll be sitting in that back seat with Milly and flying along with her over the next 6 or so months, which is really exciting. Now, Annie asked, am I going to join Milly? Hang on, Nicola said, there's a lot to think about. Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
There sure is.
Especially when you're flying somewhere new as well. So once
Yeah.
you're flying somewhere new, you've got more of that load than what you do when you're flying somewhere you're really familiar with. So, yeah.
The thing I enjoyed when we were talking the other day, Millie, was how you said, you know, it's one thing when you would say fly from Lake Macquarie and you go up to, Port Stephens or something, and
Yeah.
you go up there and then you're coming back, and
Mm-hmm.
that is a certainty, and you know where you're going and you know where you're coming back. But that also has the challenge, the un the unwritten challenge that you don't know what weather's going to be behind you, and that
Yeah.
can create problems. Whereas this way, you're
Okay.
just going forward, but every
Yeah.
day you're going forward into unknown zones. So
That's
that
it.
has to be
Yeah.
that has to be an inherent X factor in your
Yeah.
thinking the whole time, 24/7.
Yeah. Well, as a pilot, you always have to have a plan B. So you've got, airfields that you can divert to if there's weather that you don't expect, and you also have to practice emergency landings and things like that. Um, well, it's wise too. You don't have to, but it's definitely worth practicing all your emergency procedures and things like that, so that when or if it does happen, you're not trying to remember for the first time, oh, what do I do when I have an engine out? Do you know what I mean? You don't really want to be learning that when it happens. You want to have it already to be a habit. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Faye just said a fellow flyer from White Gum Farm, Dean, was here the other day telling me more about this epic journey. I can't help but follow. Good luck. You're not alone. That's very nice, Faye.
Oh, that's awesome. Hi, Dean. Hi, Faye.
Yeah, well, that's it, and I think that's what really all of these platforms are a way of letting you know that you're not alone, and lots of people will be supporting you,
Yes, good.
particularly on those longer legs and
Yes,
those
awesome.
those times where it's just you and the ground crew, and
Yep.
and uh, and then there's also that other beautiful aspect that you've shared with me, that you absolutely love being up there
I
alone
do.
in the sky in your bird
Yeah, I do.
and flying with
Yeah.
the bird.
Yeah, it was interesting. You asked me the other day, do I feel isolated up there? And that kind of surprised me because I feel the opposite. I feel alive. I love being up there. It's beautiful. Um, I don't feel lonely. I don't feel isolated. I'm just like, oh, wow, look at this and look at that. And all the rest of it. And I think as well, like, I don't know, people see my aircraft and they think it's going to be some crazy extreme thing to fly, but it puts along really slow for an aircraft. And when the conditions are calm, it's a pretty boring ride. I would think, other than what there is to have a look at. It's beautiful up there, and it's calm, and it's just fun. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Paul up in Toowoomba said, "Can't wait to follow the adventure. We'll be sharing your page and website to all my teacher
Awesome.
friends who might be able to use your
That'd be
curriculum
great.
package and have their students follow along."
That'd be
Um,
good.
Now, have you got any other photos you wanted to share with us?
Oh, yes. Let's have a look here. I was going to show you the logos on the Microlight because I had many sponsors during the crowdfunding campaign have their logo on the wheel spats or the wing, and also the pod, which is this part here. Can you see my mouse cursor as well?
Oh, I'll flick that up. I just
Oh,
behind you all the way. Nicola said, "Behind you all the way. So excited following your journey." And
yeah.
here's a nice comment from Joe. Um, Sounds like it could easily become quite exhausting. Make sure you get the rest you need between flights. No pressure. Just support from all of us ground dwellers. I think that's what
I
she
love
probably meant. Independent,
it.
independent personality. Love that freedom spirit. I will wave to you, Millie, as you fly over the Mornington Peninsula.
Oh,
Um,
beautiful. Yeah,
so here
definitely.
we go. Here we go. Let's share your screen. There they are. I'll put it onto full screen. There we
Oh,
go.
lovely. So the wheel spats down here. So I had Saltbush and Eco Tours in Mandurah, Let's Talk Thycom podcast from Melbourne Uni, Wader Quest, which is actually a shorebird conservation group in the UK who've been helping me for a few years. Ultrapack is the company that put all of the stickers on the Microlight for me. So they did that in-kind sponsorship for putting a logo on the plane as well, which was really cool. And then, of course, I've got your Costa's World logo there with you hanging on to the wheel spats, Costa. It's so cute. I've got a close-up of that one. It's so good.
I must say, Brenna, for those of you who I'm sure those of you who have been on here before, you know Brenna Quinlan, the illustrator from over in WA. I asked her to make that drawing, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And I'm so chuffed that I'm flying along there.
Yeah, I love it. It's so cute. And then on the other side, we've got boomerang bags in Raymond Terrace.
Yay, go boomerang bags.
Go boomerang bags. Yeah, I know. I love my boomerang bags. Valley Light Flight, which is a microlight school at the Trove Valley Airfield in Victoria. And Ken Jelliff, this is such a blast from the past. I met Ken Jelliff, he's a flying instructor there at Avalon Air Show a few years ago. And his grandparents used to be my family's neighbours up the road.
Amazing.
It's so funny, such a small world. And then, of course, Remember the Wild, who are doing all the documentary filmmaking with Wing Threads. Landscape South Australia Limestone Coast Board. Was it Limestone Coast Landscape Board? I think it is, in South Australia. So that's a major shorebird area there in the Limestone Coast. And the National Parks Association of New South Wales, which is awesome. And then I've got Avplan EFB, which is the company that make the flight navigation software on my iPad. So they sponsored me by providing me with their navigation software free of charge. And payments to us from Melbourne sponsored a logo on the pod, and same with Lucky Bay Brewing in Esperance. And Robin and Nigel at Lucky Bay Brewing have been my friends for quite some time. They have wonderful craft beers down there if you ever get the chance to visit. And then, of course, I don't have a picture of the wing. I should have put a picture of the wing up, but Peel Harvey Catchment Council is one of my major sponsors in Mandurah. And they've been there from the start, as well as BirdLife Australia, who have been in-kind sponsors supporting the project, and Seawise Soil Carbon Solutions as well down in Mandurah too. So they've all sponsored logos on the wing, which is just awesome.
Wow, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, well, so where were we? So that's the Polar Steps banner, and you said that you're also just rolling on with another sponsorship form. What's that?
Yeah. So I had as part of the crowdfunding campaign, I had a number of flight legs available to sponsor, and all of those spots weren't filled. And I've had a number of people still want to sponsor a flight leg.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so there were 75 flight legs that can be sponsored for me flying around. I think we ended up getting 15 filled, so there's still 15. A lot there.
Yeah, so there's plenty still.
There's plenty there, and it's just a great way for people to be part of the adventure. You get your name on the Wing Threads website as a sponsor, and it has the flight leg that you'll be sponsoring listed there. You can go to the Wing Threads website and click on Flight Around Oz in the menu, and if you scroll down, you'll see a list of flight leg sponsors, and you can pick any flight leg that hasn't been sponsored yet. And if you go to, I set up a new fundraising page on an app called Coffee, KO-FI, and you can you can sponsor a flight leg on there, or you can sponsor a kilometre for $5. as well, if you'd like to help support the project, if you believe in what we're doing and want to support, that's very welcome.
I'm just.
Thanks, Vanda. That's lovely.
I'm just trying to. I put it up there. Oh, here we go. There's the.
Yeah.
There's
Thanks,
the. Oh, okay. That banner. Okay. What I've got to do, I'm just going to put this. I'll put it in the comments if you like, and then I'll put a banner up as well. So there it is in the comments if anyone wants to copy it, and then I'll just do a banner of that as well. Hang on a sec.
So that fundraising is because I'm not working while I'm doing this project. So I'm doing all of the school visits and the travelling free of charge. That's what the crowdfunding money contributed to as well. So any extra funds will help us, stay on the road and keep going, and also help cover the accommodation and food and fuel costs for Remember the Wild when they come and join me to help, do the documentary filming as well. So every little bit will help. It'll go a long way. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Okay, I've just got a little bit of a thing going on here. I can't see the comments that I want to bring up. Okay. All right, here we go. I got the new comments now. So thanks everyone. Thanks everyone for your comments. Sorry, I just got a bit behind there. Here we go. We're up to speed. Karen just said, can only imagine the adrenaline pumping through your veins as the big day draws near. Enjoy every wilderness moment. What tales you're going to have to tell?
What's so funny? I found that once I got all of the little logistical jobs I had to do before the flight done, I've just gone, oh, I feel so much better now. Like I've done the flight planning. I feel confident about, the weather conditions I've chosen to fly in. I just feel really excited about going for the flight now. It's kind of surprised me. I thought I'd be feeling much more nervous. Maybe I'll feel differently on Friday morning, but I just feel excited right now. So it's good.
Oh, there's Vince. Thanks, Vince, from all the way from Kalamunda, just down the road. That's where I was for the festival. Awesome. Education, Spencer puts it very nice. Education is worth every penny. And Annie said, so excited that you're doing a documentary.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So true.
There's so many good stories out there of people working in shorebird conservation that I want to tell and share with everybody, because those people have been so inspirational for my work. And yeah.
So if you can just have a chat to everyone for 1 sec, I've just got to run and close the door. Give me 1 sec. Have a chat. Well, this is what I want you to do. Tell people about what you're going to be doing when you get to Bunbury on the first leg, and how long you're going to spend there, and how you've got to sort of go there, because and you can tell them that, and I'll be back in 1 second.
Sure thing. So when I get to Bunbury, I'll be doing school visits. So I've got I think I've got 6 school visits lined up next week. I'm also doing a talk with Peel Harvey Catchment Council tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon at 4:00. If anyone's interested, you can come down to Mandurah. If you check out the Peel Harvey Catchment Council Facebook page, I believe they've created an event on there if anyone's interested. Oh, yes, I just saw John Welsh make the comment, plan the flight, fly the plan. Absolutely. So those school visits are really what I'll be doing. I'm going to have to because I've got my car with me, I can backtrack up to Perth and do some of the school visits up there. I'll be doing them in Mandurah. I'm lining up a couple in Bunbury as well. And once all those school visits are sorted out, I will head on to the next leg of the journey, which will be to Manjimup. And then after Manjimup, I'll be heading to Albany, which is pretty exciting, and making my way around the southwest coast of WA and then across the Nullarbor. So that's pretty exciting. And one thing I didn't mention earlier that I'll be doing, I'm going to be sharing my children's book. I co-authored and illustrated a children's book with my friend Jackie Karen, who's a children's book author over in Victoria, and it's called A Shorebird Flying Adventure. And today's actually the publication day, which is very exciting. Yeah, I know. So happy publication day, The Shorebird Flying Adventure. Yay! So
The gnomes are happy. The gnomes are very happy.
That's it. So you can officially buy a copy of the book on the CSIRO publishing website now if you want to. And I mention it because for teachers, it comes with free downloadable teacher's notes to use in the classroom.
Wow.
And it's a way to bring shorebirds into the curriculum, which is really one of the big objectives for the Wing Threads project. I'm collaborating with BirdLife Australia. As I mentioned before, I've worked for BirdLife for many years, and this project will help achieve educational objectives for their migratory shorebird conservation action plan. So it's allowing us to reach people on a national scale and encourage educational groups and schools to bring shorebirds into the classroom. Yeah, it's something that's very difficult to do as a BirdLife employee, to reach all of those people in that way. So this is a really focused effort on that particular objective.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Jackie, I can speak to you when I'm up there next, and yeah, I'm sure you're going to be stopping somewhere in and around Port Macquarie.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I will. Yeah. I think I've got a few school visits lined up for Port Macquarie already.
Excellent. Well, Jackie will be in touch, and she can tag off the back of those. Tanya said, good for you, Milly. Great to have a plan B and to be able to use what you have at hand, and the support of so many other people who support you and learn through your bravery. I hope you listen to the Australian Geographic podcast, Talking Australia, the interview with Dick Smith about his flying solo expeditions. Why not contact them to let them know what you're doing? Have fun. Thanks, Tanya.
Thank you, Tanya. Yeah, I have contacted AusGeo, and Dick Smith was actually one of my early supporters several years ago too. He gave me some money towards my aircraft, which was really cool. And I got to visit him at his house in Sydney and see his hangar with the huge helicopter in it. And he had all the photos and the big map of all his solo adventures on the wall of the hangar. It was really awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, very special.
Mary said, I've been lucky enough to read the book. The illustrations are amazing and full of lots of bird facts. Who did the illustrations?
That was me. I
loaded question, that one.
Good setup. I liked it. It was very special. I got a copy of the book. I'll grab it.
Yeah, bring it on. Bring it on. We want to see it. Thanks for all the questions, everyone, and thanks for hanging on to being part of this. It's been unreal.
There you go.
Oh, hang on. I'll put it on full screen so everyone can see it. There we go.
It's Shorebird Flying Adventure. It's a book.
Wow.
And I'll show you some of the pictures. So there's lots of shorebirdy things in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And Microlight Milly. You come on a journey through the East Asian Australasia flyway with Microlight Milly in the book.
Can we have a closer look at Microlight Milly, please? Look at that. And that, everybody, is exactly how she holds the bar. That's it. She sits there like this and just goes, rup, rup. Oh, hang on,
It's
you can't see
true.
me. You
And
can't
you have
see
to
me.
have
She sits there
hands
and just
over the
goes, oh. It's a bit like flossing.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
That one's of the shorebirds on the tundra. That's my favorite picture, that one. That was a lot of fun to draw.
How long did it take you to do all the drawings, and how many drawings are there?
Oh, I had to do 16 double page spreads. It's a 32-page book. And I started in November of 2020 and I finished in October of 2021 probably. Yeah, so it was a good 11 months. Yeah.
I agree, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Awesome and brilliant illustrations. And Joe has said, wonderful gift for the grandchildren. 100%.
Hi, Joe. Lovely to see you. Joe is the supporter from Boomerang Bags, and she also sponsored a flight leg because she's amazing. I did do it all on my iPad. Yeah, thanks, Spencer. Yeah, it's all digital.
Wow. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, what do you reckon, anyone? Any further questions? As you have heard, all the links are there to the different platforms. I've also got all the links, and I'll put them in the comments from what you have seen in terms of Milly's Facebook, Milly's YouTube, the polar, what's her name? What was it? What's it called again? Polar.
Oh, Polar Steps. Sorry.
Yeah, the Polar Steps, which is there, and then also the new funding support platform, where if you want to sponsor a leg or anything like that, you can do that. And what do we got here? What can't you do, Milly? So talented and accomplished.
There's lots of things I can't do.
So any final questions, anyone? And we'll let Milly sort of get back to pondering the next couple of days. So at this stage, it's looking like a Friday takeoff.
Friday morning takeoff. Yep. And I'll, if you've on my Facebook page, I'll confirm takeoff time and date on there tomorrow night. And if you want to get email updates as well, you can go to my website, wingthreads.com, and subscribe to the emails, and I'll send you all of those details directly to your inbox.
So people can subscribe, and then that way they get those. Yeah, okay, that's a great idea. I should do that myself. Because I don't think I have. I just follow randomly. Click it on and go, oh, she's on. Well, I get the notifications when you come on, so I kind of know that you're not live. But getting those other stories that you're going to share like in a blog sense. Oh, someone just said, who said that? There's Tanya's just said there's that link
to the Talking Australia
podcast. Good on you, Robbie, over there in Orbost, buddy. Yep. You'll no doubt get to meet Milly when she comes sort of out there around that part of the world. Very talented, Milly, and I'm scared of heights.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't like the microlight then.
Yeah. Thanks, Scotty Ross.
Thanks, Scott.
Lisa said, thanks so much. Can't wait to watch your adventures. Safe travels, Milly. All the best for Friday from Nicola. Love the book. Children. Oops, where is it? Popped off. Children and adults alike will love it. Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, do you want a final say, Milly?
Oh, what do I say at the end?
Anything?
Just thank you to everyone who's supported me to get to this point so far. It's been huge, and I see so many familiar names and in the comments here of people who I've met through the crowdfunding campaign, including Phoebe.
Yeah.
Thanks, Phoebe. Good to see you here. And it's just been so massive, the support I've received, and I'm really, really excited to be able to share this adventure with you, and so chuffed that you can join me in the back seat, as Costa said, as I fly around the country. That back seat is for you. So
I love it. I love it.
Thank you. And thank you, Costa, for having me
Pleasure,
on your
Milly.
Facebook again tonight.
It's unreal. Annie over there in the US. Good on you, Annie, for following. And we had someone from London earlier. Good luck, good weather, and good times. Thanks, Carol.
Thanks,
and
Carol.
Danielle. Thanks everyone for being with us. It's been a great. Gee, it's been. Where did an hour and a half go? God,
No, goes so
by
quick.
the time we just covered off on all those things and kind of you explained the trip over and everything that's going on. What a treat. Well, Milly, have a great day tomorrow in the final prep, and we'll all be ready and kind of plus or minus. It's going to be sometime fairly early Friday morning.
Yeah, I think I'll probably take off about 7:30 Western Standard Time. 7:30. 7 o'clock is sunrise, and I don't want to take off too much later after that, because you just have this short window at the beginning of the day that's great for trike flying, where it's nice and calm. So I don't want to miss that window. I'll be getting up at dumb o'clock on Friday morning and getting ready, so I can just get in the trike and take off. So that's why I was saying I won't have a lot of time to sort of chat to people and wave and all the rest of it. I'll be going, all right, it's sunrise. I've got to take off.
Time to roll. So for most of us, that's going to be, be aware of the cameras rolling around the 9 o'clock Eastern time, 9:15, 9:30, depending on how things roll out. So just remember that, everyone. It's not 7 o'clock Eastern. It's 9 o'clock with that Perth time difference. So I think that's a beautiful comment from Paul Goodall to close out the comments. Milly, fly like an eagle.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it sure is. So thanks everyone, and Milly, we'll keep an eye. We'll keep an eye on things on Friday morning, and from time to time, everyone, I'll jump on and catch Milly as she moves around every couple of weeks, and do a little chat like this when the time's right, and she knows she's got a couple of days, so we're not draining too much energy from your personal tank. The fuel tank is filled a little easier than your tank. But
I just remembered I am going to be doing Wing Threads Wednesdays with BirdLife Australia. So I'll be catching up with the comms team at BirdLife every Wednesday, and we're going to have a little Instagram reel there for you, and we're going to be talking about where I'm at with the project. But we'll also be learning how to ID a shorebird every week, a different one every Wednesday. So if you want
that's fantastic. So 6 months, I'm going to do the maths on this every Wednesday. So roughly four Wednesdays a month, 24 plus a couple of random bogus ones here and there. So you're going to learn at least 25 birds.
That's exactly it. So you can learn some shorebirds on the way, and I'll be talking about the wetlands that I'm at as well, and what shorebirds you can see there.
Okay, Spencer, you're getting way too tricky at 9:30. Wednesdays. Stop it. That's a classic. ID a shorebird. That's it. Well, what a good thing. Oh, Milly, the layers, they get richer.
So many threads.
All right then. Well, thanks again, everyone. We'll sign off, and we'll all no doubt cross paths on live broadcasts over the coming weeks, and particularly on Friday when Milly sets this adventure into lift-off mode. So thanks for joining us, and Milly, we'll see you Friday.
Thanks, Costa. Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Thank you for being.